Hello everyone and welcome back to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. This is episode 100. Can't believe we finally made it to 100. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I am coming to you from Paisley in Scotland. I recorded this episode about 3 weeks ago now, and clearly it's not up on YouTube or you would have watched it by now. And then I just decided too much time has passed, and yeah, just decided to re-record, and here we are today. So today is Monday the 31st of July. I am not working. I have been off for just under 2 weeks due to a reoccurrence with a neck injury. So that's not been fun. But I've recovered, I think. So we'll kind of cover that at the end. But I feel back to my normal self. And so I have been slowly getting back into crafting, and because so long has kind of lapsed since my last podcast, I decided to just record before I go back to work tomorrow and show you some of the progress I've made, and just show some of the projects that you've either not seen in quite some time or you just haven't seen. So I've got a bit of everything today. I have, I'd say, quite a bit of crochet, but actually I think I only have like two crochet things. I've got more knitting, I have one cross stitch project, and I actually have some spinning. So we'll cover off the smaller items first in their brackets, so like spinning, then cross stitch, and then I think I'll do crochet and then onto knitting. So I'll start with like technically a finished spin. So I was down to do Tour de Fleece. I even recorded little bits that I might chuck in at the end here. There was going to be like its own standalone video for kind of like my progress of Tour de Fleece, but my neck injury had me basically stop doing everything but reading. So I've actually gone through so many books recently, it's like crazy, between books and audiobooks. So I would say it's finished, but it's not even off its bobbin yet. But here is the first one. I wish I had better lighting. There we go, that's a wee bit better. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle in this because there is Angelina fibre. So this was a batt that I got from Bits and Hobbs, and really annoyingly I cannot find the band that came with this to show what the breakdown of the fibre is, but I know there is like faux cashmere in here and merino, there's Angelina fibre, there might also be like some sort of like BFL or something in here, but I have spun this up as a 2-ply, and it was plied via a plying bracelet. So I spun up the singles and then I done like a plying bracelet or used a plying tool, and I now have a 2-ply. So I think this is really, really nice, but I don't know how well this yarn is going to get into use in the Glasgow area, because there's the whole football situation where green is for Celtic, blue is for Rangers, and basically I could get a lot of grief from people just by wearing anything with green in it in certain areas of the West Coast. So I don't know, I might give this away, so stay tuned. I might kinda do a thickness test because I think this is quite close to like a DK weight, and I don't know the yardage yet either, so I'm probably going to try and get this onto a Niddy Noddy and get a rough meterage and then I'm going to do like a wraps per inch test, but I generally do think this is sitting around a DK. But yeah, this might get given away, so if anyone's interested, let me know. So that's my finished. So it's not even been soaked or thwacked or anything like that yet, so I'm still calling it a finished spin. And then this one I have been putting off trying to complete just because I don't want to injure myself again. I'm not saying my spinning was the trigger, I don't know what it was. It could just be wear and tear, but I stopped all spinning when my neck injury kind of started flaring up again, but I really want to get this one complete. I'm so excited about this spin. So this was a braided fibre from Spin Pretty in the rainbow colourway, and the breakdown of it is 62.5% 23 micron superwash merino, 25% bamboo, and then 12.5% nylon. I picked this up at the very first Edinburgh Yarn Festival when it was, I don't even remember the name of the location it was at, but it was certainly not at the Corn Exchange. But this was bought at the very, very, very first Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and it goes through pretty much the entire rainbow. There's like yellows and blues and greens all under this top layer that you can see here, and I have spun this with the idea of making a chain ply so that I can keep the gradient. The only annoying thing when you do a chain ply is just how much yardage you lose. So I don't do singles, and I have spun this super fine. Let's see if I can get the end out. So I'm pretty sure like this is currently sitting at like a lace weight. It's so fine. And if I ply that up, I might get it to like a 4-ply / sport weight, or at least a heavy fingering. So yeah, I can't wait to get this one finished. We all know how much I love a good chain ply when I do my spinning, and just so everyone, like if anyone asks, I spin up on my Ashford Joy. I have a double treadle Ashford Joy. It's not the 1 or the 2, it's like a model in between that they didn't really release, but it's still the Ashford Joy. And I sometimes do my spinning on the Ashford e-spinner. So those are my 2 wheels that I go between, but this was all spun up on my Ashford Joy. I wish I could get better lighting. There we go. So we've got like a reddy purple up this end, and then it goes down into like a reddy pink, and then into orange, and then underneath that is a layer of yellow. And yeah, it's so pretty. I can't wait to get the time to get this spun up. I think I'm going to give myself another couple of weeks just to fully heal up. So yeah, that's my spinning. Just kind of trying to find places for everything. I've got so much for this podcast. And then because of my neck and arm giving me a lot of problems just now, I have been working on like lighter projects, smaller projects, ones that I can kind of more do on my left hand. So I picked up my cross stitch. So let's see, do I have anything I can put behind this? There you go. So this is a cross stitch I started a while ago, and it's eventually going to look like a witch's house, where there's going to be like it's kind of meant to be like a cauldron, and then there's going to be like, you're all just going to think it's like the witch from like, what was it, Hansel and Gretel, because there's like little like sweetie wrappers and stuff, but I just think it's like cute. But I'm just really happy with my progress. I feel like I've done a lot, but you can't really see, so I've put a lot of like, I've put the lollipops in, I've filled out the window, and then I've got a lot of like the back colour in for here. I got the other half done, and yes, I'm aware there's a couple of stitches here that are missing, they're cross. So yeah, I got the rest of the cauldron filled out. We've done a lot of like the back fill with the dark blue. And yeah, so I'm going to start moving across the way, which is going to have like a bookcase here. And then there's going to be like some sweets, so like they're brewing sweets. And then there's like I'd say a lot of detail down here, but it's just really like the foundation of the house and stuff. And then eventually I'll move up where there's like the attic. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this is going. This is like one of the few projects I can do like using my left hand because I'm predominantly right-handed. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turning out. And it's just given me a new lease of life to get some cross stitch, like other cross stitch projects started. So that's my only cross stitch project. I only really do like one cross stitch project at a time, but that's also mainly down to the fact like I just don't have cross stitching supplies. I only really have like, it's actually really awkward to get in and out. I literally have all my cross stitch supplies in this one bag, and all I really have is a couple of pieces of Ada that I've managed to find, and then a very small handful of floss. So I've put most of it apart from one skein of black. I'm dropping all my Ada. So yeah, like I bobbinated all the floss I have apart from one little floss of black. That's because I think I have like 3 already on, and then I also seem to have bought the wrong floss, like the wrong type. So I don't know. I don't know what past me was thinking, but I just don't have much in the way of cross stitch stuff for now. Okay, so I have to unbury all of my crochet projects. Ooh, this is very dangerous. So I have a finished object, which I'm very happy about, and then I have a remaining work in progress that just hasn't been worked on. So all of these projects that I'm going to show here on in, apart from the very first one, have all been kind of like lingering whips just whilst I've been healing, and then just, yeah, so just whilst I've been healing, and then anything that was keeping me busy, so like my friend's wedding and stuff. So this is the only one that's had work done on it fairly recently, and that is the Revival top by, I don't want to say it wrong, so it's HG Designs Crochet, so that's Heather, and this is the Revival top with a cowl collar, which I think is adorable, and then big sleeves, and I've just made this like my colourful goth top. And let me put it on because it's so cozy. I just really love this. I think it's brilliant. I probably could have made the cowl a bit tighter. It's not really the word, but I probably could have done like a smaller circumference, and then it would have kind of sat Maybe it would have sat more like that, and I think that makes me look like a potato head. So maybe it's a good thing that I've got it kind of droopy at the front. But I could have made it more cropped. I think I've got it at quite a decent length. It's not cropped, but it's not like long either. It's really hard to explain. I'll try and get some footage once I'm finished filming and then insert it to show like the length of it. But I just really, really love this and how it's come out, how the finished object is. So I think the last time I spoke about this, I had like one panel of the granny squares, and I was really, really worried that it was too wide and it was going to be really, really big, and I thought there was like a panel under the arms. And I think if I do that, you can maybe see where like my confusion was based on some of the photos, that I thought there was like a single panel under the underarm, but it isn't its own panel. It's just the whole front panel and the back panel, and then it's joined, like it's seamed. So I undone the panel I had, like I ripped half of it out before I was just like, hang on, let's take a real close look at the photos. And that's when I've seen that there wasn't a row of the granny squares under the underarm. I was so annoyed at myself because I'd literally taken the continuous join as you go, literally undone half of it before I was kind of like that person that was just like, maybe I should check the photos. But yeah, so I ended up having to join it all back together, and then I done the second panel, and then I started working on the sleeves, the cowl neck, and then there's also ribbing at the bottom. But yeah, I am in love with how this has turned out. I could definitely see myself making another version or two, one maybe not as baggy, because this has a lot of positive ease. Mine has 6 inches of positive ease, and the pattern is designed for 6 to 12 inches, so I'm on the smaller end of that positive ease, and you can see like that's flush against my body. You can see like just how much, like I maybe could have got away with just 5 columns of granny squares, maybe, not 100% sure, but I like the fit. I think it's lovely. I'm very happy with the length of the sleeves, and like I say, I'll try and get some footage at the end to show it, and then I'll insert it of what it looks like on. Okay, so I'm gonna roll the sleeves up a little bit. This is a warm, cozy, snuggly jumper. I should say that the Revival pattern is a test crochet, and Heather is doing a big pattern release in September. The date got pushed back, so that's why I'm a bit hesitant on the dates, but I'll certainly let you know when the collection, because it's going to be a collection of patterns, comes out. I'll certainly let you know the information. I'll share it on like my Instagram and stuff like that as well. But it's been an absolute joy to work with Heather for this test crochet. I'm so glad I got picked. This has been a huge learning experience for me. Like, I've done test knits before, but Heather's patterns are so well written, and it was just like new techniques. Like, I'd never done this continuous join as you go method, and then I wasn't sure how I was gonna like doing the sleeve. So you start with, sorry, there's someone walking past the flat. You start with the cuff, and then kind of like what you would do with a knitting pattern, I guess. But it was really interesting construction. I learned a lot from this, and I'm definitely going to be taking away the continuous join as you go method, because if I make any more future blankets with granny squares, that is the method I want to go with, rather than trying to sew them up like I done the blanket for my goddaughter. So the next item I'm going to show is a work in progress that I haven't touched in a long time, even though the last time I showed off I was just raving about this project and how much I love doing it. But I put this next project down to work on this one, and so it is not complete. But this is the make up as you go along granny stripe jumper that I was making with leftover yarn from my mum, who has made 2 jumpers out of this yarn. So we're getting a third one out of all of this yarn, and this is going to be a slightly oversized jumper, and the plan is to look at how much yarn I have left, because I have a lot more of the white than I do any other colour. I think the one after that is the beige. I have the least amount in the tan. So I need to see how much yarn I have left, and then it's going to be a case of do something for a neckline, and then find a way to end the sleeves, because I think I'm going to leave these at like a 3/4 length sleeve, so I might do just a couple of rows of single crochet. And then I also want to do a nicer ending, but this is currently quite cropped, so as long as I get the neckline done and then add a wee bit more length, then I'll just kind of fudge it after that and just make it up even more as I go along, because that's all I've done for this. This is pretty much a copy of the 4-ply one I done 2 summers ago now, and I done that with leftover advent yarn, like 10-gram mini advents, and I also kind of made that one up as I went along, and that one's cropped and it's got short sleeves, whereas this time I wanted one with slightly longer sleeves that would be more suitable for the colder weather. And so I decided to go with, pretty sure this was Aran weight? Pretty sure. I'm trying to think where I last had a ball band, because there was one kicking around. I don't know. But yeah, it'll get picked up eventually. At the moment, now that the test crochet is done, I just need to submit my photos and my feedback. But then once that's done, it's back to crafting for the wedding, and then after that's all done, then I can focus on some of these languishing whips. So yeah, that's my last crochet project that I can show off. I'm still not showing off a lot of what I'm making for the wedding, so I'll put that over there. I'm also actually going to take this off because it's really warm. Okay, so grab a drink. Okay, we're going to move into some knitting. I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to look around and see, do I even have any finished knitting objects? I don't think I do. So we're just going to pick them at random. So the first one is the Dustland Jumper. I have a lot of jumpers on the go. So whether you call them a jumper or whether you call it a sweater, a pullover, whatever, I am going to interchange different names. I'm going to call one a sweater, I'm going to call another one a jumper, I'm going to call another one a cardigan when it isn't, so just be aware of that as we go into this next bit. because there's a lot of garments. So this is the Dustland by Stephen West, and things are falling. I have got this to a point in the body that I am quite comfortable with, but if I can make it longer, I'm gonna make it longer. So the body is currently on hold, as you can see here, and I have started picking up for this, excuse me, I have started picking up for the sleeves. I am doing them, I was doing them on 9-inch circulars just because I find that the easiest. Most people probably don't agree for the top part of the sleeve. They maybe agree as you get closer down to like the cuff. But I do find it easiest to do my sleeves on 9-inch circulars. So I haven't picked this up in a little while, so it'll be quite interesting to see where I've left this off. It looks like I've just picked up for the sleeve and knit like an inch. But it would be really, really good to get this back on the go. But like I say, wedding crafting is going to take priority. So this is the Dustland. Like, just look at all that texture. Like, isn't that really, really pretty? So this is like a Gansey inspired pattern, and he's now done like the whole range. So I'm pretty sure he's now got the Dustling Shawl, hat, cardigan, and I also want to say there's like Dustland socks. Could be wrong on that one, but he has done like a whole bunch of different patterns for it, so it definitely will benefit from a good block, especially where there is more like of a rib effect, because you can see like it is bunching up a little bit where it's like the broken rib. But yes, I decided that I'd got the body to somewhere where I could finish it there and then just focus on the sleeves, but I want to get the sleeves to a length where I'm going to be really, really happy, and I'm not jeopardizing is the wrong word, but I'm not risking running out of yarn and making them shorter than I would like. I would like full length sleeves. I'm not, maybe not even just bracelet length, I'm talking like halfway down my hand length. I like quite long sleeves in winter, but I also love the ability to roll them up when I start overheating. So this one is going to get just that. Like, I have way more than enough yarn to do that, but I just want to take precautions and make sure I'm not going to leave myself short. So that's why I'm going to work on the sleeves, and then I'm going to go back to the body and work as long as I want, because I know my sleeves will be complete. So I am looking forward to when I can get this picked back up, because it's going to be lovely. I need to move it to a slightly bigger project bag, it seems. I don't know, I don't remember the last time it fit easily in this bag. There we go. Okay, so that was the Dustland. Let's move on to the Hooded Shawl Cardigan. This has had some love in it since I last showed it off, and I have put it on to a longer cable, and I've tried it on and I've got it to a length I'm really happy with. So again, this will get some love in maybe like a month or two, where I think I don't even know where the printed pattern is now. I think I do the hood. Either do the sleeves, then the hood, and then the bands, which will then go around the bottom. But all I know is I need to leave the bottom on either needles or waste yarn or some sort of holder, and then move on to wherever the next bit. Not sure where that cut off, so apologies if anything is a repeat, but so far I've got the bottom on hold, and then I will get back to this and see what the pattern wants me to do, whether it's the sleeves or the hood or whatever. But to go through the yarns again for this one, because they are beautiful, I have a fibre punk yarn in Squid Ink. Come on camera, focus. So this is not a self-striping yarn, but all of Marcus's yarns are gorgeous, whether they are self-striping or not. And then I have a I have two balls that I could show. Sorry Deanna, totally forgotten the name of your previous yarn brand. Love Bugs. Love Bug? Love Bugs. I always get the S bit wrong. So this is Love Bugs yarns, and this was Unicorn Mane. And this is really, like, I think this colour is like so subtle and lovely, and there's quite a lot of like different aspects to it. Sometimes you'll get like a slightly stronger green, and then you'll get like a big splash of turquoise, and then there's like really lovely like lavender purple in there as well, and then there's like a lot more muted aspects to it as well. So it's really, really gorgeous variegated yarn, and it really, really is lovely. So I originally had this put aside for a completely different project, and then the urge just hit me to cast on this pattern by Suzanne Summers, and I couldn't find two skeins of the same colour. Like, that's what I generally have to start doing. I have to stop buying single skeins and start buying like at least two. And then I remembered I had this set aside for another project, and the wanting to cast on that other project was a lot less than this one, and so this one has been put into a new project. So that's that one. And then I have this gorgeous 100% British wool from Woolly Knits, and I have forgotten the colour, but it's like this really, really deep, deep, like gorgeous purple yarn. I've still got the cone upstairs, but I'll have mentioned the colour in a previous podcast, so if you go back it will be there. So like I say, the bottom is on hold for now, because eventually this will go as a band all the way around. Like, it, I don't think it's a button band, but there is going to be a band where it will go along the bottom and then up for where you would normally have the button band as standard, and then it will go up and around the hood and then back down and around the bottom of it. So it's just one big finish off. So the bottom is on hold for now, and then once I have some spare crafting time, eventually I will. I've just realised, no, I was going to say, I just realised I don't have any more fibre of Marcus's, but I literally held it up. Oh, is it obvious I have not had enough caffeine today? So yeah, this is the Hooded Shawl Cardigan by Suzanne Summers. Next one I'm going to show off is the Ravelry Shawl by Amelie Designs. Let me just make sure I got that name right. Marie Amelie Designs, sorry. And this is my 2-colour Brioche Shawl that honestly, I love it so much, but it's so, to me, it's quite like a time invested pattern, and you have to be very in the zone to work on it, because I can do plain brioche absolutely fine, plain 2-colour brioche absolutely fine, but the minute you add in increases and decreases, that's when I have to literally be zoned in, no other like distractions. I can't have the TV on, I can't have a podcast on, I can't have an audiobook on. It literally has to be me and the pattern in my knitting. That's it. So it is looking really good. This is my colour 1. This gorgeous, gorgeous like gold, yellow gold with stellina. And then my colour 2 is this variegated green. I think these go really, really well together. Some people might not agree, but that's for their opinion. And I have one more repeat to go before I start decreasing. And I think this is quite a good length. Like I'm really trying not to stretch this. And like my arm is completely straight up, and it's still down to about like my waist. So it's going to be nice and big, and it's going to have really good wrap for it. Because I was a wee bit worried when I thought that was me at the halfway point, that it was going to be quite short without having to like stretch it. But turns out I was wrong, and I am not quite at the halfway point. So I have at least one more repeat, which is at least a good 2 inches, 2.5, maybe even 3. Hang on, let me check. Yeah, at least another 3 inches of unblocked yarn. So that's going to be good. That's going to add on quite a bit more length than I thought I was going to have. And you can see all my lifelines, all of these little additional colours, random colours. I got neon yellow, neon pink, neon purple. I can thank Teresa of 33rd Street Knits for that one by telling me put lifelines in. Haven't had to use them yet, touch wood, but definitely thankful for that recommendation, because it also helps me count which section I'm on. But every time I pick this up, I have to go back onto YouTube and relearn how to do the increases and the decreases. Like that's the one bit of knowledge that my brain just won't keep a hold of, is how to do the increases and the decreases. Just like make one left and make one right. Like I can never quite remember if you go in from the back or you go in from the front. I can't hold that knowledge for some reason. I'm going to cause a small project avalanche in a second. So, my next project is one I don't know if I've shared with you before, and this is the Seasons cardigan. This is a half fisherman's rib cardigan that I am doing on Aran weight yarn. Yes, Aran weight yarn. I'm doing it in this really, really gorgeous bluey grey colour, and this is also just really going into my aesthetic of goth. Everything goth and Halloween, apart from the really colourful one of my revival. But this is the summer. This is a Seasons cardigan by Ozetta, and this is where I'm at. I haven't quite finished the increases yet before I split the sleeves and the body, but almost there. I have a sticky pad somewhere with all of my increases, so let me see, can I grab it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9 rows more to go. And you can see all the ones that are circled are the ones where I have to do additional increases at the front collar. So you increase, like a standard raglan, you increase on either side, but then you also have additional rows where you increase for the button band, which is knit in. I don't need to go back and knit on a button band. So my metal needle is one size, and then my wooden needles, my DPNs, are a completely different size. So I'm doing it on a 5mm for the body and 4mm for the button band. But look at that texture. The thing is, like, my sister stayed with us a good couple of months ago, and she was staying a couple of nights, and she brought with her a cardigan that she had bought out of Primark, doesn't matter how you say it to me. And I literally was examining her cardigan because I swear to God it was identical to the cardigan that I am making right now. Like, it looked like half fisherman's rib or brioche. And the button band looked identical. The raglan increases, everything. It was the spitting image of this pattern. And so it just goes to show like how much is either taken from one industry to the other or vice versa. I am in no way saying Zeta has copied Primark. I really don't think that's the case. Excuse me. But it just really goes to show that when something is really, really popular in the crafting world, that it gets taken and put into mainstream fashion. Which, if anyone goes like, oh, where did you buy that bit? I feckin' didn't. I made it. So yeah, I am making this with 100% acrylic yarn bought from Aldi, which is a supermarket here in the UK. I think you can get it in other places now, but I get it in the UK. I have 2 balls of this, which should be more than enough, but I do want to go with a really oversized version. So I plan on making this so that this is just going to be a run around the house cardigan, throw it on, keep you warm, and just live a nice cozy life. Right, let's put that back in before I lose it. Okay, let's move on to slightly lighter and more summer aesthetic, even though I'm pretty sure Scotland summer is now over and done with. We had like 2 weeks of horrible heat, nothing compared to Europe and some places in America right now, so please note that I realise how lucky we are that our temperature has gone back down, but oh my days, I was struggling with the heat. And so I decided that it was time to be making some, I was going to say some summer stuff, but I'm going to go with more summer stuff. So I cast on the Sugar Ring tank top, which is a design by Jackie Bogg. I got this at what was previously the Perth Festival of Yarn, now the Scotland Yarn Festival, or Scottish Yarn Festival, sorry. And this came as like a kit. I had the, it fell. It came as a kit, but I now have very little of all the other colours left. So you start at the bottom and you work your way up. So I can't count, it would seem, and I don't want to have to undo all of my work. So basically what is probably going to come back and bite me on the arse later on was a miscount with my cast on, because I cast on and then I started doing the 1x1 rib, Then it turns out I had twisted it, and this was after me arrogantly sitting there, be like, how do people get this twisted? I mean, like, it's so easy to make sure you've got it right, and then I went and done it. So there was a good slice of humble pie right there. And then when I finally got it not twisted, I went to do the second round of 1x1 ribbing and realised that I was actually doing moss stitch, and I was just like, what the heck, like, how have I got this so wrong? And then I counted it and I was just like, no, I've got it right, like, it's the pattern's fault, like, they've just not got this right for the biggest size. And then it turned out, like, I thought that for pretty much the whole thing until I got to splitting, and I was just like, yeah, I just can't count. So I have bound stitches off for the underarms, and I am starting, it's very lopsided, you see, I'm starting to work this one of the straps, and then I will do the other strap, and then I have to go flip over to the other side, and then I will do work across and then bind off a couple of stitches in the middle and then work both straps. So this is being knit out of, it just says hot butter yarns, and I don't know any of the colours. Like, it was a kit, like I say, there was no ball bands on it at all, but this is what the finished thing's going to look like, and it has little pockets. So this is my first time ever, oh, something's gonna fall. This is my first time ever, like, putting little pockets into my knitting, so it's still to be sewn down, like, it's just a flap for now, and I still have to, like, bind off the stitches. It just said put them on scrap yarn. I don't know why it didn't just have you bind them off. I think because you had to cast on as well, like, I don't know. I've never done pockets before. I don't know the correct way to do them, or even if this isn't the correct way to do it. So I think I like my colour order. The dark green here was the one with the least amount of colour, and you were to use the first little square as your gauge. Like, that was literally your gauge swatch, like your pocket inserts were your gauge swatch, which I thought was pretty good, because then you're not wasting yarn. So that colour was the one with the least amount because it's for the smallest things. And then my blue was obviously my most colour. This was 120 grams of the biggest colour. But I really struggled to find out which order I wanted these to go in, because I really love this rust orange colour. Like, I think that's really gorgeous. But I actually am really happy with my order. I just hope that this moss stitch thing fixes itself when I block it and stops, like, rolling up. Like, it's a pain in the arse. Like, it just needs to stop doing that. But yeah, I just need to work on the straps, and then that'll be it. That'll be done. It would definitely benefit from a really good blocking though. But it's a very loose gauge, which I could have knit it tighter and gone against the pattern, but I don't know, there's just something nice about this gauge. Especially when it's going to be like one that you throw over like a standard tank top, so you don't want it too tight. But it's definitely not something I could wear. Definitely not something I would be confident wearing without a tank top underneath. I'm not going to go as far to say as you shouldn't, because do what you want as long as you're comfortable. But I would not be comfortable wearing this with just a bra underneath. You can see, like, you can see me through that. So it's a very, very loose gauge. And I still have quite a bit of yarn. So I've been kind of holding it up and being like, right, okay, how much more length do I want, and then just like the pattern, you can make it like make the straps quite long. Why is that not focusing? Come on. There we go. Like you can make the straps quite long if you're going to wear like something else underneath it. So that will also add more length. Okay. I swear I've only got 2 projects left that I remember. I'll go with the smallest one. And I am working on more fibre punk yarn. This is Goth Prey that I got not this year but last year at Pride. I got Goth Pride and Progress Pride last year, and then this year I bought 2 more. I started this and then I ripped it all back out and I redone it again because my idea is just to make one big long sock tube, like literally knit every single inch of this yarn and then do a sock tube. Maybe I'll only knit 50 grams of in a sock tube because otherwise that's going to be a very, very, very long sock tube. So yes, originally I had knit this and I had quite a bit more like knit up, as you can see here from all the extra wrapped around the ball. And then this little niggling feeling was going through me saying that no, rip it out, add more length, because when I do ice cream van. When I do an afterthought heel, it feels quite tight over the other part of my foot that I don't know the name of. And I was doing it on my usual 2.25mm needles and I needed just a few more stitches, so I've gone up to 38 stitches rather, no sorry, 68 stitches rather than 64 stitches. That should just give me a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to that afterthought heel. So I'm just back to popping a few stitches on as and when I can. And like I say, I'll probably knit up like say 50 grams out of the 100 and see what kind of sock tube that gets me. And yeah, then with the other 50 grams I will probably make a hat because I really, really, really like this yarn. So this will probably sit on my desk now that I'm going back to work, and I will probably get a couple of rows done throughout the day and we'll see how big it grows. It's also my throw in my bag knitting if I go out. So yeah. And then my last project is more fibre punk yarn. And it is a self-striping. But I have 2 balls of yarn attached to this project because I am doing the helical knitting method. I also have it on a very small knitting cable. So I'm going to try and stretch some of this out so that you can see it quite nice on one side. And the colour is not going to get the justice it needs because of the lighting, but this is like neon colours. This is the Mount Pleasant Tea by Pip and Pin. I have knit this once before and I freaking love that top so much, and I have decided to do it in these absolutely amazing screaming summer colours. And like I said, I'm doing the helical knitting method. I have done from the very beginning because the skeins were bought at very different times. I reckon there was at least 12 months between each purchase, and because of that there is a difference in each skein obviously, but one is a lot more muted and the other one is a lot more vibrant. and so I definitely had to blend the yarns. So that is that. So I picked this up and worked on it last night just to kind of gauge how like my pain is at the moment, and it was a-okay. So we're good. We're back to knitting. So this is currently, I have to do 2 more rounds of increases. No, 1 more round of increases, and then I need to get it to a certain length, and then it's split for the sleeves, work the front and the back. But the pattern says to get it to like 9 inches or something like that. I'm going to push for a wee bit more, or once I've got the increases done, maybe should have put like a knit around of contrasting colour, because I might do top surgery and add more length later, like literally cut a row of the yarn and then add more and then Kitchener the top together. So this might get surgery done on it. We won't, not too sure, because I probably should have put, if I was going to put in an alternate, a contrasting colour, I probably should have put it in all the way back here, which was right before the increases, which is for the bust. So I've maybe shot myself in the foot with that one. So I might have to cut down here somewhere and add the length in later. Dunno, not sure. But even if we don't, even if I decide not to cut it and add more length, like I actually really love my first copy, which is pretty much exactly to pattern lengthwise, so it's not the end of the world if I decide not to, but we'll see. Okay, so let's do some real quick acquisitions, because Scott will be coming in from work soon and I want to catch up with him, see how his day was. To keep on the fibre punk trend, I bought 2 skeins of yarn from Marcus on one of his last updates. This one is Pride and this one is High Voltage. So I had to get the Pride one because the update was during Pride. And then this one, I just loved the neon orange and the yellow and the grey and the black together. I thought this would make amazing socks. So this was my purchases from Marcus's update. And then going back to what I was saying about cross stitch, I decided to get some supplies for a couple of projects I want to get done. The Black Ada is a project that I'm going to make for Scott, and then I just got some random pieces of other Ada just to have on hand should I need it. And then the floss that I've got is a mixture of projects, so quite a lot of it is for the project for Scott and the Black Ada, and then some of the other ones are for some other projects that I purchased from, oh god, what is that designer's name? The Witchy Stitcher, that's it. Couldn't even find her patterns, it actually just came to me. So I've got some patterns from the Witchy Stitcher that I really want to make, and so I got the floss that I need to do those. And then, where have I been? So let's go into a bit of a life update. Like I mentioned at the start, I've had a reoccurrence of an old neck injury that flared up last year, or made itself known last year. And again, like, even back then, we couldn't figure out what had triggered it. They were like, oh, you have to have been in a crash, or you have to have fallen recently for this to have happened. I was like, yeah, I've not fallen in my car crash was about 5 years ago, so, like, really don't think it's that. So we don't know what's triggered it this time. It might just be coincidental that I literally cracked my neck a couple of days before. Like, you know how you crack your bones, like your fingers and stuff? I'd done that with my neck, and then literally a couple of days later I was in a lot of pain. So it travels down my neck and into my arm. It really kind of triggers in the bend of my elbow, here on my arm, and then like kind of like right in here. And I still get like the odd niggle of pain for some reason, specifically in the bend of the arm. I don't know if it's because like you're compressing the nerve or something when you bend your arm. I don't know. But touch wood that I'm coming out the end of that one, but I just have to take things slowly and not go too heavy on the crafting, which is annoying because I still have to make my bouquet for the wedding, and I am like 13 weeks away from Scott and I's wedding. So feeling the pinch when it comes to time. Otherwise, I've just been busy, really. My best friend got married, or one of my best friends got married, and that was back at the start of June, which was really exciting. I'm so glad to be part of her big day and just be there. That took up quite a bit of my time, and then just not really wanting to podcast as well and just be present and in the moment, spending time with Scott, spending time with my family, and yeah. Sorry, I really need a drink. The start of Tour de Fleece really kind of took up a lot of my time as well. I focused a lot on the spinning, and so I was recording little snippets of Tour de Fleece, and because I wasn't working on like knitting and stuff, I didn't think I would really have anything to podcast about, so didn't record around about Tour de Fleece, and then obviously my neck. And then before that, I was working on a lot of wedding stuff that I don't want to show off before the wedding, so go figure. So it's just been one thing on top of the other, and I'm just slowly getting back into crafting now that I'm not in nearly as much pain as I was in. And I return to work tomorrow after almost 2 weeks off. I do have a sick line for 2 weeks, but I'm going back early for a work reason. Not pressure or anything like that before anyone jumps into the comments. I'm going back on my own fruition. Is that the right word? But there's something happening in my work that I want to be present for. Nothing bad, don't worry. But yeah, I'm gonna be working on making a bouquet and maybe flowers for the flower girls and the bridesmaids, but one step at a time. My bouquet is more important. I don't want to be a bridezilla, I really don't, but I have little fake bouquets for the bridesmaids and the flower girls should I run out of time. I do not have anything in place of my bouquet should I run out of time. So the bouquet is taking absolute priority now that I'm back up and running. So that's going to be what I focus on going forward. So if you don't see me for a couple of weeks, please know that that is why. I probably won't record a podcast until I feel like I have something substantial to share, or even any progress on any of my projects that isn't wedding related to share. So yeah, it could be a couple of weeks before the next podcast, but I did want to just jump on and show some projects, and just also bringing them out lets me be like, oh, I still have that, I still want to work on that, I'm so close to finishing that. Like, just seeing things instead of having them hiding in little like nooks and crannies and stuff like that is always really good. So yeah, that's where I've been, that's what I've been up to, and I hope that you have been enjoying whatever crafting you're getting up to. Please let me know in the comments down below what you've been working on, or anything, like what you've been up to, anything at all. Just jump into the comments and even just say hi. But yeah, until next time, thank you so much for spending your time watching my little podcast. I hope you all stay safe, enjoy your crafting, and until next time, bye.